Hi everyone, it's Mothmuse, and today I wanted to do a slightly unconventional video showing and explaining how Cal and I did our very own photo shoot by ourselves with no photographer. Now, this is kind of cheating a little bit because I actually am a photographer. I own a professional camera and have had professional lessons. However, anybody can do this. You don't have to have any fancy photography classes or a fancy camera setup. I'll be explaining how to do this with professional camera as well as something as simple as your phone. So first thing is location. You can either, if you want like a budget-friendly version, you can always just set up at your house, like set up in your living room, clear out the floor. You can set up like a bed sheet or a blanket or something as a backdrop. Or if you do have a little bit more budget, you can actually get a nicer backdrop. Just being really creative with the things that you can do. But for us, we ended up going to a parking garage, which honestly, I feel like parking garage photo shoots are so underrated. They're actually really, really nice and a lot of fun. Just be mindful that if you do a photo shoot at a parking garage, this is a public area, so you just have to be very mindful and respectful. We went to a parking garage that tends to be really empty, and then we went to the very most top floor just to increase the chances of it being empty. There was a security guard doing rounds around the parking garage, so, we did talk to him and we were like, double checking that our setup was okay, that we were staying out of the way, we weren't being in the way that any cars would be driving, not getting any license plates or people in the background. And he's like, oh, y'all are good. But yeah, so there's actually a few different ways that you can do your own self-shot photo shoot. So again, if you're more on a budget and you don't have like a fancy photography camera, you can use your phone. I know a lot of modern day phones actually have really high quality on their camera. You can also check your phone settings. You might actually have a raw or professional camera setting on your phone. If you do, definitely switch over to that because that's going to give you the best, highest quality photo that your camera can physically take. Sometimes it does some filtering for you automatically, and it's really nice. But pretty much you will need a tripod or a ring light or something if you're going to use your phone just to prop it up. Or you can have your friend and bring them with you and take photos for each other. Maybe buy them lunch for helping you out. But if you are completely by yourself or you're taking pictures together, you can set up your timer on your phone. Just kind of position it, check where you're going to be standing and your framing and everything, take the shot, go back and check, readjust, take another shot, and so on. Now, if you have a professional camera, it's going to be pretty much the exact same situation. You can set up the timer, double check everything, and so on. However, there are some tools with the professional camera that can make this a little bit easier. I personally use a Nikon. I think this model is like a D5600. I've also used an older model of a 5200. But the really nice things about those cameras specifically is that the screen can flip around and you can adjust it at different angles. I absolutely love this for photo shoots because I like to utilize different angles and framings when I take pictures, and this is also just really helpful for taking your own photos because you can flip it so that while the camera is on you, you can see the screen, so you're seeing what the camera sees, so you can make sure that you're in frame and everything looks right while you are actively in frame. So yeah, that's really nice. So with that, you can either set the timer again, or if your camera's really nice, like mine, you can actually set up to take remote photos with a fob. Now, my older model camera, the D5200, it was compatible with the fob. When I upgraded cameras, I thought this new one was compatible, but I could not find the setting. I swear it's compatible, but I couldn't find it in the settings. I'm still getting used to this camera, so maybe it hasn't, maybe it doesn't. Double check your camera settings and the compatibilities and everything. But if you do have a nicer camera, you might have the option of using a wireless fob, which pretty much it hooks up to your camera camera through Bluetooth, and you can take the picture and then hide the fob either in your hand or in your pocket. But yeah, it's really nice because then you don't have to try and rush back and forth between the camera and posing. So if you're having a bit of a more difficult pose, or you just want to make sure that the framing is just right, you can take the shot exactly where you're standing, exactly where you are, and you don't have to worry about dealing with the timer. That's pretty much how we did our own photo shoot and took photos for ourselves. Since there was 2 of us, a few of the photos we did alternate between the 2 of us. You can also see here that I also had like some nice light setups. Again, you don't really need these. Now, outside of taking the photos themselves and editing them afterwards, I know there are tons of really good light and photo editing apps on your phone for like computers or even tablets. I personally have the photography plan through Adobe that uses Lightroom and Photoshop. Honestly, not a big fan of Adobe. I have many reasons why I don't like supporting them. Unfortunately, in my personal opinion, they do have some of the best photo editing softwares out there, and I have a really good deal on them, so I reluctantly stick with them. But a really good free alternative that I have heard of is GIMP. I've personally messed around with it, and I know a friend who uses GIMP. Does a lot of the same things Photoshop does, with a few limitations, because again, it is a free software. But if you're on a budget and you don't have the funds to put towards a nicer program, GIMP is a really good alternative. Again, there's plenty of other apps on your phone or things out there. Just do a little bit of research. Make sure you're not installing any malware on your computer. Please double check what you are installing before you do. But yeah, hopefully this video was a little bit informative and helpful. I feel like I'm not very good at tutorials, but I'm trying my best to get better because I really want to share with the community. Grew up as a baby cosplayer watching these kind of videos, and I want to contribute for the next generation of cosplayers. Thank you so much for your support, and happy cosplay!